Hi there. It's Monday, August the 5th. Wow. Summer's flying by, right? And it's time for Proverbs 5. Let's jump over there. Today, Solomon, speaking from experience, he was had a lot of wives, okay? 700 wives and 300 concubines, or girlfriends, you might say. So he's speaking from experience here. Something he wished he'd probably done himself, right? Avoid seduction. My son, pay attention to my wisdom. Listen closely to my understanding so that you may maintain discretion and your lips safeguard knowledge. Though the lips of the forbidden woman drip honey and her words are smoother than oil, in the end she's as bitter as wormwood and as sharp as a double-edged sword. Okay? She says this, I think. Now, one of God's commandments in his law was to not marry foreign women. Most of his wives were princesses that were given to him by other kingdoms, foreign women. And you'll notice all over Proverbs, he writes how horrible. It's better to live in the corner of a roof than to share a house with a nagging wife. And he says stuff like that all over the place. It's just amazing. So he's speaking from experience. Okay. Her feet go down to death, her steps head straight for Sheol. She doesn't consider the path of life. She doesn't know that her ways are unstable. Right. So now, my sons, listen to me and don't turn away from the words of my mouth. Keep your way far from her. Don't go near the door of her house, otherwise you will give up your vitality to others and your years to someone cruel. I think he did that. Strangers will drain your resources, and your earnings will end up in a foreigner's house. At the end of your life, you will lament when your physical body has been consumed. And you will say, how I hated discipline, and how my heart despised correction. I didn't obey my teachers or listen closely to my mentors. I'm on the verge of complete ruin before the entire community. Okay. Now, Solomon's advice from his own experience. Drink water from your own cistern. Don't marry foreigners, he says, right? Water flowing from your own well. Should your springs, or seed, flow into the streets, streams of water in the public squares, they should be for you alone and not for you to share with strangers. Talking about your love, okay? Let your fountain be blessed and take pleasure in the wife of your youth, right? He wishes he'd have stuck with his original wife, and that's it. Right? A loving doe, a graceful fawn. Let her breasts always satisfy you. Be lost in her love forever of your one wife. Why, my son, would you be infatuated with a forbidden woman or embrace the breast of a stranger? For a man's ways are before the Lord's eyes, and he considers all his paths. A wicked man's iniquities entrap him. He is entangled in the ropes of his own sin. He will die because there is no discipline, and be lost because of his great stupidity. So, there you go. One subject, one advice from, it's not, we highlighted stuff in here just to accentuate it, but if you know Solomon, he was the wisest man who ever lived, but he had a weakness, and it got him in trouble in the end, too. Got him in a lot of trouble. So, we highlighted 3 and 4 just for kicks, because this is Solomon, though the lips of a forbidden woman drip honey, and her words are smoother than oil. In the end, she is as bitter as wormwood, and as sharp as a double-edged sword. Her feet go down to death, her steps lead straight to Sheol. She doesn't consider the path of life. She doesn't know that her ways are unstable. Right? Keep away from them. Otherwise, strangers will drain your resources. and your earnings will end up in a foreigner's house. Right. 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 So yeah, be lost in the love of your wife, of your one wife, and stick with them. Right. Amazing. Amazing. So there you have it. Like I said, a very short proverb. I remember when I was younger, in my 30s, I think, I was a computer technician, a specialist in migrating old systems over to new systems for large corporate offices. And they had 6 or 7 of us in there, all in our, 20s and 30s. And I remember them comparing the number of women they had embedded. 5, 10, 20. I mean, everybody's, kind of like this. And they got around to me and they said, how about you? How many women have you had? Right? And at the time I was like, 1. My wife. That's, that was the only woman I had ever had at the time. And do you think they laughed at me? And I said, what? Every one of them got very quiet. And then one person says, that's really neat. That's amazing. And they were amazed by that. They weren't. They didn't laugh at me or ridicule me. So I think in every man's heart, he wants to do right and wants to have, one person of one wife. So, just lessons from life, right? Stay tuned later today. We are still in our Through the Bible in a Year. We're on the 218. Wow. And what are we reading today? I think we're starting a new book today. Zephaniah. Probably the whole book is probably only 3 chapters. And we'll learn about Zephaniah, so stay tuned for that. Give us a like if you think about it. But till next time, we'll keep doing this. See you later.